Arpyra rosita.
No. Your pronunciation is completely wrong. Try again.
Arpyra rosita.
Not pyra. The pronunciation is pira. Arpyra rosita. Mispronounce one syllable, and your day will end rather quickly.
So you've told me.
And so I will keep telling you. Do you think this is a game? Ask the people of Echo Village if Boro Kane was in a playful mood.
I would ask them more than that if they weren't all dead.
Continue with your gross mispronunciations, and you'll likely get your opportunity. Try it again.
Arpyra rosita.
Better. You might just survive this, after all.
I'm curious. What exactly am I saying?
Arpyra rosita can be loosely translated into common as, I am your master.
Loosely?
You're right. I should be more definitive about a language that is thousands of years old, that only a handful of people actually know exists, much less can actually speak.
I do hope you're as effective as you are sarcastic. You're probably not, though.
My effectiveness in speaking dragon will not be tested today. Yours will be.
And he'll let me ride him when I say that phrase? You're certain of this?
As certain as I can be.
I suppose I will have to trust you.
Angelica smiled as the proverbial fish took the bait. She drew her blade and crouched low. Dominic did similarly and followed after her. They walked for several hours, deep into the mountain via a hole that Kane had spent the last several weeks digging through. When they finally came upon him, he was even larger than they could have anticipated.
By the gods, it's enormous.
Said no woman to you. Ever.
Seriously? Even now?
Especially now.
More importantly, how do I actually do this? Do I just walk over there?
You have to be bold. Dragons do not respect timidity. Stand in front of him. Speak the phrase boldly, and then wait for him to lower his head. When he does that, he has submitted himself to you, and you will be able to ride him.
What will you be doing while I'm doing that?
Praying that I am right.
Dominic sighed at that response before turning his attention to the slumbering dragon. He crept closer and closer. Before long, he was crouched low just in front of the dragon's nose. Dominic glanced back at Angelica, who urged him forward with several underhanded flicks of her wrists. After several anxious moments, Dominic stood tall and spoke the words.
Arpyra rosita!
Dominic watched as Kane's closed eyes opened ever so slightly, revealing gold irises and forest green pupils behind the slits. Angered from being awakened from his slumber, Kane let out a moan that could be heard for miles. Dominic spoke the words again, more forcefully, almost defiantly.
Arpyra rosita!
Kane responded, only this time he did far more than roar. Kane opened his jaws wide and bit off Dominic's left arm all the way up to the elbow. Kane looked angrily at Angelica as she spoke her own words at him.
Arpu la roku.
And then, even though he certainly had no desire to do so, he lowered his head and allowed Angelica to mount him, which she did.
You tricked me!
Of course I tricked you, you idiot. Did you really think I was going to let the likes of you rule over me if I killed my own sister?
But how? Only a person with my blood can control the dragon. Only I have dragon blood.
Actually, you. And now, most of the floor of this lair have your dragon blood. And that, my dear, was the key. It was never about you. It was your blood. It never had to be in your veins. It merely needed to be in the presence of the dragon. After that, it was really just a matter of knowing the dragon tongue. Do you know, I didn't theorize any of this until we arrived here this morning. It seems I was right.
I will kill you for this whore. I promise you're gonna...
Oh, va sik ah.
Cain inhaled and released a bastion of fire that consumed Dominic at Angelica's command. All that remained of him was charred bone, shadows, and dust. Angelica patted Cain on his head lovingly before giving him the command to take flight. Meanwhile, Thamro, Jenna, the Provost, and Magus Thorn reconnected with Cravex and Lysa in Ubris. The alchemist put the finishing touches on a potion for them at the mental urging of the Provost that would reverse the effects of the Scroll of Malediction, provided the potion was consumed by Cain within the next 24 hours. We pick up with the group now as they head to the royal city of Fynn to regroup with King Peros.
Let me get this straight. We have to put that potion inside of a dragon's mouth. The same place that, I don't know, fire comes out of.
Oh, is Big Bad Krevix scared of a little dragon fire?
Yeah, I'm man enough to own that, and not just dragon fire. No, I do not discriminate when it comes to fire. I fear all fire equally.
We can use our magic to telekinetically place the potion in his mouth.
You are assuming he will simply open his jaws wide and say, ah.
Assuming? No. Hoping? Absolutely.
I still think we should have sent a raven ahead of us to the king. Cravex, Jenna, and I are wanted in Fynn.
The king and I are longtime friends. I will speak to him and things will be fine.
Tell that to the ghost. That maniac attacked us on the road to Ubris, Father.
The ghost?
He's the baddest bounty hunter in Welkin, kid. If you believe the bard's songs about him. I'm pretty certain King Peros sent him after you, me and Jenna.
And you faced him?
Yes, I faced him. And I beat him, I might add.
Did anyone actually see you beat him?
Lysa was there. Tell him, Lysa.
Technically, I was riding off to Ubris. I didn't actually see you beat him. But I know my Leslie. He can handle his own.
Say it with me. Vex. It's not that difficult. Cray rhymes with hay. And Vex, which describes how I feel whenever I hear you call me Leslie.
Anyway, there's no proof, Jenna. For all I know, he ran.
For all we know, the ghost is still out there, guys. And he won't know or necessarily care about any agreements we make with the king.
What do you suggest we do?
Perhaps you should each conceal your identities. There's no need for Cravex to do so, seeing as how he has already encountered the ghost. Jenna and Thamro, however, should take precautionary measures to ensure their safety until we get to Fynn.
Until we get to Fynn, where Peros will just kill us anyway.
I think he has a point. You should put your hood on, Jenna. We could at least make it a little harder for him.
What about you?
Thamro will have to make do as well. Hand me your shirt, young one. Thamro removed his shirt and handed it to the provost. He spoke a few words of magic over it, and the shirt transformed into a black mask that could be worn over the head and tied into tassels in the back. He handed it back to Thamro, who began tying the mask in place. Beyond that mask, at least for the moment, there's nothing either of you actually can do. The ghost will come if he so chooses, but when he does, perhaps your sword can become better acquainted with him.
Yeah, Oliver. I couldn't help but notice that shiny new blade the kid has. Where'd you pick that up, kid?
The provost glared a hole through Kravex, but spoke no words.
It's a long story, Kravex. I think the other me and this sword have something of a history.
There is no other you. Not anymore. You're free now, Thamro. That blood magic is inside of Convergence.
I meant to ask you guys about that. You mentioned it in the raven you sent us in Ubris. So, Ollie here took the evil juice out of the kid and put it in the kid's talking sword. And now the kid can say abracadabra or some other magic word and get his super strength. Am I getting that right?
I used my power to remove the blood magic inherent in Thamro's system and placed it inside of his sword. The blood magic is what gave him his power, but because it is generally used for evil purposes, it has an adverse effect on his personality.
Evil juice equals evil kid. Yup, got it. Go on.
Now, when he utters the proper magical word, which in this case is his own name, the blood magic temporarily re-enters his system, igniting his power.
Kid says the magic word. Sword gives him a glass of evil juice. Got it. How does he get it out of his system? Does it wear off like before?
When he is done with the power, he simply speaks the word once more, and the power returns to Convergence.
Apart from not having to slam the kid on his head, how's this any different than where we were before?
Did you just miss that whole part about how he doesn't have blood magic bubbling through his veins anymore?
No, I got that. But if the kid is putting the same evil juice back into his system, isn't he just going to be the same evil kid he was before? Wasn't the whole point of this exercise to get the good version of the kid with the super strength?
I will be. I just have to work on it, is all.
It sounds to me as though you will need to suppress your old nature, Thamro. Bring it under submission. That may prove to be difficult. In fact, I really think we should have a contingency plan, Father, in the event that Thamro cannot suppress the power on his own. We cannot be worried about a dragon-worshipping cult, the king, the ghost, and our own ally.
I would agree, daughter. I have left that in the sword's own capable hands.
Wait. What? Let me get that straight. Am I the only one who sees how evil this sword is?
No,
see that.
we all kind of see that. Mm-hmm. Yep. Uh-huh.
You're not alone on that one.
Okay, good. So then, why is this up to the sword? We're talking about an evil sword that is going to determine whether or not the kid is too evil to hang on to the evil juice. That's our plan.
Master, can I cut him up into small, bite-sized pieces?
No, Convergence, you may not cut Mr. Kravex up into small, bite-sized pieces. Tell him you're sorry.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kravex.
Kravex, tell Convergence you accept her apology.
All of you are friggin' nuts.
Thamro made a good point earlier, Provost. What exactly are we going to tell King Peros when we get to Finn? You really don't think he'll kill us?
Kill them all. Start with Genikis and work your way forward. Actually, save Genikis for last. I want her to watch her friends die.
Seriously?
Yes. Seriously. Do you have any idea what your actions caused? 20 of my soldiers are dead because of you.
No, Ramses. 20 of your soldiers are dead because a dragon-worshipping cult attacked them and decapitated them. And had you listened to Jenna in the first place, perhaps those men might have lived. King Peros could not argue that point. He calmed his breathing and opened his heart.
Tell me again of this plan of yours to reverse the curse on Boro Kane.
The provost recounted the plan to the king. They would return to the last known location of the dragon and set up for a siege. Once they had the dragon drawn out of his lair, the archers would unleash their arrows on him and force him to land. Once he landed, Jenna Kiss would cast her bone control spell to hold the dragon in place, while the provost cast telekinesis on the dragon's mouth, forcing him to open it. Then, Magus Thorn would telekinetically place the reversal potion inside of the dragon's mouth, forcing him to...
What in the blue blazes was that?
That was Ollie's plan going straight to hell. The dragon apparently didn't get the memo.
General Lears, assemble your troops. Oliver, contact the guild.
The provost gave a look to Magus Thorn, who teleported immediately to the Mage's Guild. It was not customary for the guild to involve itself in matters of the throne, but since Borrowcane had committed crimes against the guild, and because he was also a necromancer, he felt confident that his peers would come to assist them. Of course, no one other than Thorn knew the provost's true endgame, but that was of little consequence. As long as Kane was dead at the end of this encounter, reversal, potion, or not, he could ascend to godhood. While this was going on, King Barros and a garrison of soldiers made way out to the city gates, where Angelica Icewalker sat atop of the largest beast any of the men had ever laid eyes on. Hundreds of members of the Order of the Dragon flanked her on all sides, many on horseback, several others as foot soldiers. Fear spread itself wide like a blanket, King Peros in particular, as he approached Angelica. Thamro eased his hand to the hilt of convergence, but Kravex shook his head no. There was no telling whether or not Thamro would actually be able to contain his old nature, and now was certainly not the time to field test it. Instead, Thamro, Kravex, Jenna, and Lysa each watched as the king stopped in front of the dragon, which let out an ear-shattering scream directly at him.
I'm sorry, Your Highness. Did you say something? I couldn't hear you over my friend's rude screaming. And tell your mages to stand down. If I hear so much as a whisper from them, my archers will mow them down.
If I had spoken any words, they would have been to tell you to leave the royal city now.
I believe the words you were looking for are I, followed closely by surrender. Would you like to try repeating them in a sentence?
King Peros answered her nothing.
Oh, well. Re-zimbo locus.
The king died almost instantly. Angelica looked at her soldiers and gave the command she had waited all her life to give.
Order of the Dragon. Attack!
Battle commenced as the King's Guard and the Order of the Dragon rushed each other. Archers unleashed arrows. Knights in glistening armor fought with swords. Angelica took to the air and commanded Cain to hover just above the fray. It wasn't long before he began administering fireballs onto the King's Guard below.
What about now?
You know what? Now would be a great time, kid. Go for it.
Thamro ripped conversions from her sheath. The sword purred as it breathed the city air. She was more than pleased to be in the hands of her master again. preparing to do what the two of them did best. Fabulous secrets were revealed to him as the young man held aloft his magic sword and spoke the word of power. Blood magic coursed through his veins as the familiarity of supremacy filled his soul. His pupils faded away, and he twirled Convergence as if he'd been born with her in his mother's womb. The tassels of his black mask flapped in the wind as the gleam of the sun danced down the spine of his sword, his muscles flexing as they surged with sway. Thamro turned to look at Jenna.
How are you feeling?
Like it's time to go to work.
I like the sound of that. Kid, take the potion. You're the only one who can force feed it to the dragon. Jenna, see if you can force him to land with your bone spell. Ollie, there are a lot of innocent people that live in the royal city. Teleport them to safety before they all get killed.
What about us, Kravex?
We're about to take down a dragon cult, my dear. Mount up.
Kravex tossed the reversal potion to Thamro, who caught it and began carving his way towards the direction of the dragon. Kravex grabbed a nearby horse and pulled Lysa up behind him. He unsheathed his sword as she prepared a spell before they rode off into the fracas. The provost made way towards the citizens of Fynn, casting teleportation spells on them to move them as far away from the city as he could. Jenna, meanwhile, eyed Boro Kane as he flew overhead. The issue wasn't the dragon. The issue was the woman who rode him. Jenna pulled out her staff and began to cast.
From land to sea, both far and near, I take your love and give you fear.
Jenna's spell of fear connected powerfully with Angelica.
I got to get out of here!
Without thinking, Angelica leapt from the back of Boro Kane and dove to what her bewitched mind told her was safety. Her body connected with the ground like a sack of rocks, snapping her neck like a twig. Jenna Kiss, what have you done?
What are you yelling at me for? I took out the dragon rider.
And who do you think is controlling Kane now? Boro Kane roared and began attacking everyone in his path, dragon worshipper and king's guard alike. Fire bombarded Fynn like a thunderstorm. As the members of the Order of the Dragon quickly realized the futility of their pursuits. Their queen was dead, and the beast they worship had no love for them. It wasn't long before they stopped fighting the king's guard and turned their collective attention to attacking Boro Kane. And Kane was winning.
We have to get the potion inside of Kane. Where is Thamro?
I don't see him.
You're not looking in the right place. Look up.
They looked skyward and were amazed to see Thamro flying towards Boro Kane, Convergence pulling him towards his target.
By the gods, is there anything that sword cannot do?
Blood magic can do a great many things, Necromancer. A great many things. Kane eyed Thamro as he approached him in the air. He inhaled and prepared to unleash a fireball at his opponent.
Convergence, I hope you have something for this.
Activating shields, Master.
Kane released his fireball as Convergence brought forth a protective bubble to surround Thamro with. The fire washed harmlessly over them, as they continued approaching the dragon.
That's exactly what I would have done if that were me up there.
Uh-huh, I'm sure you would have, honey.
Seriously, I would have.
Thamro landed on the back of Boral Kane, sticking Convergence deep into his left wing. The dragon roared in agony and landed hard onto the ground below. Thamro climbed quickly up the beast's long neck towards his head. When he reached it, he used his strength to force open the jaws of the creature and placed the potion down the animal's throat. Angrily, the dragon tossed Thamro from its back without ceremony, causing him to crash hard into a nearby tree, knocking him unconscious. Convergence ripped herself from Kane's wing and flew to Thamro's side. He remained unconscious as the others watched to see if the potion they'd concocted would work. They were stunned when it did not. A wounded Kane simply growled and lumbered towards them. Archers loosed their arrows into him. As Kane roared, the provost quietly smiled as he watched his own wicked plans unfolding. Kravex watched Thamro fall, and a thought occurred to him.
Jenna, I have an idea.
It's too late. I didn't realize how close we were to the 24-hour time limit. There's no way to reverse what has been done to him now. That change is permanent.
Not today, kiddo. Not if I have anything to say about it. Liza, get down, please. Jenna, hop up.
Jenna Kiss and Lysa Mironess switched places as Kravex urged his horse forward towards Kane. He yelled at the archers and guardsmen to cease their attack.
Everybody stand down, now!
The warriors lowered their weapons as Kane fell forward onto his stomach and moaned in agony. All he wanted was for his nightmare to end.
By the gods, Father, what is Leslie doing? It would be more merciful to just kill this creature.
I would have to agree, child.
What are you doing?
Something I should have done the minute this whole thing started. We never needed a potion or an army, Jenna. All we ever needed was you. He is your master. More than that, Boral Kane is your friend. I can't think of a greater magic than the power of a friend's love. He needs to know that someone loves him. He's done a ton of evil over the years, and if the gods determine that he needs to die, then he'll die. But not before he hears his apprentice tell him how much she loves him.
But Kravex, I just don't...
Don't think. Go. Now.
Jenna slipped off of Kravex's horse and walked slowly towards Boral Kane. The dragon purred as he recognized his apprentice.
Master, what have they done to you? I'm so sorry I failed you, Master. I tried to reverse the spell, but it was too powerful. I did everything I could to help you, but I failed you. Please, find it in your heart to forgive me. I want to thank you for all you did for me. All anyone knows is the evil they believe you have done. And much of that perception was earned. But none of them saw you as the loving mentor, guardian, and the father that you have been to me. I love you, Master. May you rest in peace.
The people watched in astonishment as Boral Kane began transforming before their very eyes. Wings became arms, talons became fingers, scales became skin, and fangs became normal teeth. After several moments, Boral Kane was no longer an onyx dragon. He was a man once more. Unfortunately, however, the wounds he suffered were far too great, and he died in the arms of Jenna Kiss as she wept bitterly.